What you're looking at here is the statue of the motherland, and of course the Ukrainian flag, and it's located in this park overlooking the city itself, where there's a lot of martial material, lots of tanks and that kind of stuff. But also in addition to that is this statue. And it is the statue commemorating the Ukrainian dead in the Second World War, because the Ukrainians look upon the war very differently than the Russians. There will be no parades, there will be no martial music or, celebrations as such. It is a much more somber event here, and so this is my vlog on my second Victory Day within Ukraine. One of the major reasons why these two nations, which have now indelibly separated from one another, look at the events of the Second World War quite differently, is because, actually, despite what Moscow would have you believe, much of the blood that was shed between Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union was shed here, on this soil, in Ukraine and in Belarus, European Soviet republics, because in essence this was what Hitler and his misguided beliefs thought could be the Lebensraum, where German settlers could come, this fertile land of Ukraine. Despite what Putin would have you believe, nobody really wants Russia. A whole chunk of it is unusable taiga, for God's sakes. But they have to have that sense of victimhood. They have to have that external threat so that you don't dare look too close internally within Russia and all the dysfunction therein. And there used to be a museum here, and it was called the Museum to the Great Patriotic War. Well, in 2015, the Ukrainians decided that was too Moscow-centric. So what they did is they changed it to the Museum of Ukrainian History in the Second World War. And to me, this is just another way of exhibiting that these two nations have very different narratives about their history and their sense of place and their identity. And that has changed forever now. Vladimir Putin has made sure of that. And it's worth mentioning as well here that in Vladimir Putin's speech on the Victory Day parade on Red Square today in May 9th, 2023, he spoke an awful lot about how the West is trying to destroy Russia, is coming to destroy Russia. Well, Vladimir, Vova, I'm going to put as the thumbnail to this vlog the painting by Ilya Repin, The Death of Tsarevich, because Vova, you are Ivan the Fourth of the 21st century. You are the one who is destroying that which you proclaim to love so much. You have destroyed Russia by this illegal and disastrous war. If you really want to have a tough watch sometime, sit down and get yourself a copy of a film called Come and See. It was a film produced at the kind of end of the Soviet Union. It depicts partisan warfare just across the border in Belarus, and it is a tough watch. It is gruesome, and it's awful about what happened there. But, Moscow would have you believe that it was Russian blood, mostly, that was spilled, disregarding the hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians, Belarusians, Baltic nationals, people from the Caucasus, people from Central Asian republics in the Soviet Union that also shed blood and died. But then, of course, that's because Russia looks at things from their own hegemonic perspective, especially when it comes to the Second World War. And I have said in the past that I believe the Second World War for Russia has transcended history and is now firmly in the place of religion. Ukrainians, in Putin's speech today, he spoke about how the West was trying to destroy Russia, to come and destroy Russia, to destroy Russia's values and traditions, a sense of identity and self. And he also, spoke to the messaging to his people, in particular young men. You can participate in this unfinished war that your grandfathers fought in, that we base so much of our identity within. You can go to Ukraine and finish this unfinished war. In this, I suppose in some ways, Vladimir Putin and I, oddly, kind of share a perspective. This war is going to answer a lot of historical questions that were not answered in the 20th century. But sadly for Vladimir Putin and for those who support his ideas, it is an answer to the historical question of who gets to have dominion over this land. And it is going to be the Ukrainians. So for those of you who mark this day, commemorate this day, I send you, blessings, good wishes. It is a day to mark a righteous victory over an evil empire, an evil ideology. Hopefully, this time next year, there will be another victory day to celebrate over another evil empire. And I can't wait for that to happen. So, as always, Slava Ukraini, Geroyam Slava.